Hi guys, welcome to Make 2 and a Sims FreePlay version of Fairyland. At the time we made this property, we just had Halloween, and the fall season is now on us with a vengeance. Leaves are falling all over the place, and I was just kind of in the mood to build something foresty and also involving costumes. Because I was looking at the sim costumes that we get from all the various Halloween quests and events. And then I was reminded that in December 2016, when we had a big holiday update, we had a fairy-themed limited time event, which was really cool and unlocked the magical rainforest and also lots of oversized furniture, because I guess the theme was that we were on like a fairy adventure and fairies are pocket size, and so therefore everything else had to be oversized to make our Sims look like they were fairy size, if that makes any sense. So the issue with that is that although it was really cute, I just never actually did anything with the furniture. I think I've maybe used a couple of pieces here and there once or twice, but just not too much really. So I thought I would just challenge myself to try and use as much of that stuff as I could in this build, and you will see, for instance, we've got some really tall grass stalks over here around our misshapen pond, and you'll see other oversized pieces like the clover and the leaf rugs that you see down here throughout the build. Another thing you're going to see are various Sims in costume, because the idea is that this property is, as I said, fairyland, and it's taking place in a magical realm. It's populated by woodland creatures like this Sim in a fawn costume here, and we've got a princess over here. Oh, never mind the fact that she's on her cell phone, don't worry about it. And we also have a fairy over here, a large size fairy, but you'll also see a couple of the smaller pet fairies flying around. So I don't really have a story for this whole thing like I did with the Halloween tour that we did last week, but I was just inspired by the fantasy genre, books and movies and TV. So those are the kinds of creatures you'll see wandering around. So that's just to give you an idea of some of the inspiration behind this. Now you might see from this view that the buildings are shaped in an interesting way and the balconies are shaped in an interesting way, and that is because they're meant to be trees. Like I said, this is a woodland area, so these buildings are meant to be trees in which our fairies and magical creatures live. I guess you could say it's also got like an elves from Lord of the Rings kind of vibe. But basically I wanted a blending of indoor and outdoor spaces. Now there's no real organization to the property, so it's not like I'm gonna be able to do a room by room tour or whatever. So as you can see in this room, there is a staircase up, and we've got the same going on over here and over here. These are basically the trunks of the trees, and then throughout the property you've just got lots of these oversized flowers which came from that Pocket Princess event, and a couple of bodies of water, as you can see here. There's number one, and then there's a smaller one over here with a little duck pond, and these are just surrounded by flowers. I just wanted there to be lots of lovely vegetation and flora to go along with the fauna. So over here we have a gardening area for whoever's on the property to grow their food, and we've got a well, and then back here I've got this idea that this is like I would say a magical spring, so that's why it's surrounded by these fences like this. Maybe the spring has healing properties, the water has healing properties, or it's like the fountain of youth or something like that. Here we've got our woodland creature. He's technically a werewolf, I think, but even wolves have to be loved, right? We've got lots of fairy lights strung around as well, lighting the way. So let's just take one of these staircases up just to see what goes on. So here is the first level. The green of the balcony railing is of course meant to evoke the idea of leaves on a tree. And here's just an example of the blending of nature coming inside. We've got an open doorway and flowers arranged here on either side. The next level up is just the top of that tree, but if you stayed on this level and walked along this sort of bridge here, which is inspired by tree branches, of course, that goes over the little pond, and then you get to the next tree over here. And there's a staircase in the trunk there. Obviously that just goes down to that level. And then just little tables scattered around the branches. You could say the fairies and the woodland creatures maybe sit and eat at these tables or just sit and chat. And they'll just be sitting on the branches themselves, so therefore no need for chairs. Now there are other levels to this particular tree, but in order to get to them, you're going to need to approach them through this tree over here. So as you can see, we have a staircase that goes up and it goes to this level. And on this level, we just have a bit of seating outside and seating inside, again with the open doors, mixing of inside and outside with the leaf rugs. I think these are just really beautiful. Went for wood everywhere, as you can see, just to make it seem like we are inside a tree trunk. So if we went up to the next level of this tree trunk, we have another seating area, and this is a bit more nature-y. So the chairs here are these beautiful moss and twig armchairs, and we've got that gorgeous lamp there on top of the table. Here is pinecone Christmas tree, which reminds us that all this furniture came from that limited time event from Christmas almost 2 years ago. And by the way, we've got a wizard here sitting on the other side of the room. Just outside, you can spot an owl. I think it makes sense to have owls in the trees. All right, so then over here, we have that branch or that balcony walkway that connects over to the second building that we were in, the second tree that we were in. And if you want to know how to build balcony bridges like this that extend over open space, we show that in a couple of different videos, and I'll link to those in the video description below. So then this level is more of the same, just a slightly smaller balcony space compared to the balcony space below, so that you have the idea of a tree that gets smaller as you get higher. And then in the middle of the trunk here, we have a ladder that goes up to the final level. And here you see that the balcony space is even smaller than the ones below. And I tried to go for mixed shapes in the balconies at each level so that it looks more like a tree, kind of organic and random. So that is all this stuff above ground. It's all very communal. You can think of the fairies and the woodland creatures just hanging out and being very peaceful and enjoying life. But they also spend a fair amount of time underground. And here is what the underground looks like. So I'll put the walls up just sort of like this. I'm not sure if the effect really comes through, but this is meant to be tree roots. So again, I went for a kind of random shape to all of the rooms down here. It's kind of like our Hogwarts castle with the secret passageways. But this time we've got a little more wood as opposed to stone. So this is where that spiral staircase comes down, and if you went along the passageways this way, there's just all kinds of maze-like shape to it. But down here we have the kitchen, and this just uses a lot of the wizard cottage furniture. These get unlocked by completing the 2 magic quests. So yeah, just lots of wood countertops and a place for wine, some recipe books, I guess, or spell books maybe. If you went this way, then you'd find the place where the food would actually be served. So here is the dining room. And this has got room for 2 tables because the creatures who live on this property, they are, very friendly and loving, and they like to socialize. So there's just a cozy fireplace. I love this. This again came with all of the fairy furniture from the Pocket Princess event. Then if we went along this way, I'm getting kind of lost. Let's see, we went this way. Here we've got a living room. I would say this is sort of like a parlor or sitting room where the ruler of the woods gets to spend her time. And as you can see, there she is. So back here we have a small library space. A couple of those bookshelves. I just love these. These are just so gorgeous. Great artwork on these. This chest is from that wizard cottage. There's a little chess table for the occupants of the parlor to play together. Another one of those beautiful fireplaces, and a couple of chairs sitting in front of there. Great place to be warm and cozy. Now, if we followed the passages this way, You can see that there is just a little bathroom, just room for a tub and sink and toilet and some unguents in the corner there. And if you went this way, then we get to a bedroom. And again, this is probably just going to be for the leader of the woodland creatures. So we've got the bed on top of a couple of these rugs from the spa event. I think they work really well with the leaf bedspread on the bed, which, by the way, is beautiful. On the walls, we've got lots more plants, then another one of those fireplaces, and dresser, chair, table, and lamp. And then there's access from this bedroom via this staircase directly up into the biggest tree. So yeah, that is my attempt to use the stuff that we got from that event almost 2 years ago, as I said, finally trying to make use of it. I would love to do more, but I kind of feel like maybe they just could have given us more stuff. Like if we'd had more of the themed furniture and maybe wallpaper, flooring, windows, doors, stuff like that that matched some of that aesthetic, then that could be really cool and inspiring. But it was still a fun challenge to try and match those items up with some of the stuff that we have in the game from other events and quests, and to try and make this into the build that we have. Hopefully some of what I was trying to do made sense and came through. Please let us know in the comments what you think, and if you are new to our channel, feel free to subscribe because we've got plenty more Sims FreePlay on the way. Thanks for watching!